Hey everyone, welcome back. I am so incredibly excited to be your guide for today's explainer. We are going to unpack a brilliant, ancient society that reached just unimaginable heights of engineering and culture, and then, well, they seemingly vanished without a trace. It is honestly one of history's ultimate mysteries, and the clues they left behind are absolutely mind-blowing. So, I want you to imagine a society 5,000 years ago that built an advanced urban utopia. We're talking about cities with planning and engineering that would literally make modern architects stop and stare. But instead of leaving behind written histories of their grand conquests, they just faded into an eerie silence.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this isn't just a dry history lesson, it's a grand historical detective investigation. We are looking at a civilization that, at its absolute peak, was larger than the great empires of Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. So, how does a civilization of millions of people just disappear? Let's follow the evidence. Section 1. A mysterious great civilization.
Our investigation starts with the sheer, baffling scale of this empire. It wasn't just a single town, It was a sprawling network covering a staggering 1.3 million square kilometers. To put that into perspective, it stretched all the way from Jammu in the north down to Maharashtra in the south, and from Uttar Pradesh in the east all the way over to the Iranian border in the west. Thousands of settlements, from tiny villages to massive metropolitans, thriving in this immense space. But here is where it gets really interesting. Actually, it's what's completely missing that's so fascinating. When we think of Egypt or Mesopotamia, what comes to mind? Huge royal tombs, massive palaces, records of bloody conquests, right? Well, here, we find almost zero weapons of war, no grand palaces. Instead, all the archaeological evidence points to a society that was hyper-focused on organized, peaceful civic living, rather than warfare or feeding a ruler's ego.
Section 2. Sudden discovery of Harappa.
For thousands of years, this entire peaceful empire just laid buried beneath the dust. The clues trickled in super slowly. Back in 1826, a guy named Charles Masson noticed some strange ruins and baked bricks in Punjab. Later, Alexander Cunningham found these really unique seals with an unknown script. But the mystery wasn't truly blown wide open until 1921, when Dayyaram Sani finally excavated Harappa. And then just the very next year, R.D. Banerjee made an equally stunning discovery. But wait, before those heroic excavations, we had what I like to call the accidental villains. In 1856, engineers John and William Burton were building a mundane railway line from Karachi to Lahore. They needed materials, found thousands of beautifully baked bricks at a nearby ruined village called Harappa, and, well, they just used them as track ballast. I mean, no way, right? They had absolutely no idea they were casually erasing the remains of one of the most advanced ancient civilizations on Earth. Meanwhile, jump to 590 kilometers away from Harappa, in the Larkana district of Sindh. R.D. Banerjee was actually looking for a Buddhist stupa, but instead, underneath it, he found seals identical to the ones at Harappa. When the findings were matched up, it was a total revelation. These were two cities of one massive ancient empire. Banerjee's site was named Mohenjo-Daro, which is an incredibly eerie name, meaning Mound of the Dead, named for the sheer volume of human skeletons found scattered right there.
Section 3. Journey from Mehrgarh to Metropolises.
So where did these people even come from? Let's move to and see how this builds, because a massive civilization doesn't just appear out of thin air overnight. It all started way back around 7000 BCE with simple farming communities in a place called Mehrgarh. Over thousands of years, these communities evolved into walled towns until around 2600 BCE, we hit a massive urban explosion, what we call the mature Harappan period, where these towns rapidly transformed into sprawling metropolises. Those foundational innovations that allowed the society to completely boom, they happened at Mehrgarh, nestled along the Bolan River in modern-day Balochistan. They transitioned from hunting to a settled life, becoming some of the very first in the region to grow wheat and barley locally and domesticate animals. We've even found graves where people were buried with tools and sacrificed goats, which totally points to some early beliefs in an afterlife. Section 4. Amazing engineering and grand trade. Now we arrive at the peak of their society. And let me tell you, their achievements at this stage don't just rival modern urban planning. In some ways, they put our modern cities to absolute shame. 4,500 years ago, you had step-by-step urban perfection. Strict grid layout streets, multi-story houses built from standardized baked bricks,
Homes had private kitchens, private wells, and yes, advanced private toilet systems. Waste flowed into covered street drains equipped with manholes for cleaning. That is an engineering miracle that many modern cities are literally still struggling to achieve today. And they were incredibly wealthy, too. They didn't just stay cooped up in their amazing cities, they were international merchants. In the ancient texts of Mesopotamia, we actually find references to a wealthy trading partner called Meluha, which was their name for the Indus Valley. The Harappans exported ivory, gold, copper, and precious lapis lazuli all the way to the Middle East.
Now here's the crucial point about how they maintained that massive trade network. They engineered universally standardized stone weights based on multiples of 16. Think about that. Whether you are in a local market or thousands of kilometers away, a weight was exactly the same. They practically invented honest, standardized international trade. It was a real game changer.
And their genius extended across so many industries. They weren't just farmers. They were the very first in the world to cultivate and weave cotton. They built the world's oldest dockyard in Lothal, sailing ships right down the Saraswati River to the Arabian Sea. They completely mastered bronze casting, giving us the famous dancing girl statue. And they ran these massive bead-making factories in Mohenjo-Daro. They had the whole shebang. Yet, despite all this overwhelming evidence of their brilliance, they left us with the ultimate puzzle. Archaeologists have found thousands of these small stone and clay seals. They feature intricate carvings of one-horned bulls, elephants, and tigers, all topped with a mysterious script. And to this very day, no scholar in the world has been able to decipher it. Whatever secrets they held about their kings, their culture, or just their daily conversations, they remain locked away.
Section 5. Climate Change and Final Decline.
Every golden age must face a setting sun, right? Around 1900 BCE, the tone of this civilization darkened drastically, and those grand, highly organized cities began to crumble. Now, for a really long time, historians believed a violent myth that invading Aryans swept in and destroyed the cities. But modern scientific consensus has completely debunked that. They hit the nail on the head. The true killer was far more insidious. It was climate change and the shifting of the very rivers that gave them life.
This brilliantly and tragically illustrates how nature always wins. The mighty Saraswati River began to dry up entirely. The Indus River changed its course, bringing just devastating, unpredictable floods. At the exact same time, vital monsoon rains drastically decreased. Without reliable water, their agricultural fields turned to barren dust, and those vast international trade networks we talked about, they completely collapsed.
So it was a slow, agonizing death.
The incredible urban infrastructure broke down in a cascading failure. Those perfectly engineered drains jammed up. Starvation set in, forcing citizens to abandon their beloved metropolises. You see, the people didn't magically vanish into thin air. Out of pure survival instinct, they scattered. They migrated east and south, eventually losing their grand urban identity to become simple rural villagers once again. It's almost impossible not to feel a shiver. The story of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro is a chilling mirror held up to our own modern world. It's a silent warning about our fragility in the face of global warming, drying rivers, and environmental collapse. It reminds us that no matter how technologically advanced or perfectly engineered our cities become, nature always holds the final card. They faced devastating climate change, and despite all their brilliance, they lost. As we face our own climate anxieties today, the ruins of the Indus Valley are quietly speaking to us. So the real question is, will we hear their warning? Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through time. If you enjoyed this explainer and want to uncover more fascinating historical truths with me, please hit that like button and subscribe. Catch you in the next one.